Hi guys, and welcome to episode 24 of the In the Hub podcast, brought to you by Playbox Technology UK. In this week's episode, we speak to Melissa Cogavin, Managing Editor at the Society for Broadband Professionals, the SCTE. Melissa's career has taken her through various paths within the film industry, where she has worked with the likes of Paramount and Disney, to name a few. She also founded the Event Cinema Association, where she coined the term event cinema and furthered its development. We really hope that you enjoyed this episode. So welcome to the In the Hub podcast, Melissa. How are you doing today? You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, you're very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad myself, thank you. So we'll just get straight into the questions then, if that's okay, Melissa.
Of course.
Awesome. So, Melissa, I know that your career's largely been based within kind of the film and media industries. So how did you actually get started on that path?
Well, I left college with an English degree. It wasn't particularly vocational. I ended up selling advertising space at the Evening Standard in the mid-90s, which was a pretty cutthroat place to start. But the training was excellent. So in terms of sales training, I couldn't really have been in a better place. It was an awful job and I hated it, but I'd stuck it out for 2 years. And then I kind of ended up taking a strange move into the music industry briefly, which was a boom time for CD manufacture when things were going crazy. And it was at the mid-90s. It was quite an exciting place to be. And through my contacts there, I took another leap over to Disney at that point and started working in a department called Disney Character Voices, which is the dubbing department for TV. And then I sort of worked my way up through TV, home entertainment, and into theatrical distribution over 7 years there. Yeah, it was not the most planned career path, I suppose, but it's been quite broad. I kind of experienced quite a few industries that way. And then that brought me into Paramount and kind of on from there, really.
I imagine there must have been some like you were saying with CDs, some drastic changes going on in those kind of industries at the time.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, technology was moving pretty fast. When you're right in the middle of it, you don't really appreciate how quickly that is. But I've already been struck at the time by the technology was there, but the consumer appetite for change wasn't. And I don't know if you remember, having to upgrade from vinyl to CD, and then that was a massive outlay for a lot of people. And from video VHS to DVD was the same kind of outlay. And really, it was the appetite for that and the money that the average consumer had to spend $16.99 on a CD. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And now all these CDs are just sitting in people's attics and no one knows what to do with them.
Gathering dust.
Yeah. So it was an interesting time to be there. And then of course I was at Disney when the Napster thing happened, and I kind of watched the music industry just implode at that point. I don't think anyone knew what to do. But it took someone like a visionary like Steve Jobs to harness that technology and create iTunes. And,
100%.
And he sort of saved it, really. And I think the rest of how we absorb content now is largely down to that shift, I think.
From all of that then, from your previous experiences, what actually led you to taking on the managing editor position at SCTE?
I'll just sort of backpedal a bit. When I was at Paramount, I was there for 3 years, and then I left right in the middle of the recession to become a consultant, which was a kind of pretty random move again. And I found myself working at the Royal Opera House, and they just started putting live broadcasts of ballet and opera into cinemas, which was really exciting. And I'd never heard of it before. And you get quite institutionalized when you're in a big studio for a long time. You're not really aware of what's going on the periphery of the sector. So I wasn't aware of it, and it seemed extraordinary to me. And it was growing quite quickly, and that sort of led to other freelance work in the same sort of area. And I was just kind of bringing my distribution expertise to these arts companies who didn't know anything about the cinema industry. So I was kind of bridging that gap, and I did that kind of work for about 4 years in sort of post-production and marketing and sales. And I was really excited by what I saw in that area, and I could see all these really hard-working little companies and big brands like the Royal Opera House trying desperately to sell tickets to a completely unaware audience. And I just thought that there's a big need for a trade association here, someone to bring all this activity together and give it a name, because it didn't even have one. So I kind of came up with the name Event Cinema, and I created the Event Cinema Association and set up a trade association really with just I kind of had the mission to promote and support the players in that sector. I could really see that there was a massive need to produce things like conferences and awards, and just gain column inches in newspapers and get that name Event Cinema out into the press so that audiences start to know what to look for on websites and that sort of thing. So it was very marketing led, really. So I did that for 6 years and I loved it, and it was an amazing experience. And so I was sort of running a trade association, but I was also doing lots of marketing and sales and lots of writing on the side as well. So I was writing for magazines. So when I saw this role come up at the SCTE, this ticked every box because it was kind of like appealing to everything I enjoyed about running the ECA. All the best parts of it, really. So I leapt at the chance, and I'm really glad I did. So here I am, 4 months later.
Yeah, no, it sounds really good. And what were your kind of initial impressions about the SCTE when you first joined? You know, what immediately stood out to you about the organisation?
It was actually a personality thing. I just really like the people. They've all known each other for a really long time, and the organisation has been going since 1945. So it's got a really long history, and the people there are very, very proud of that, and they've all known each other forever, and it's like a family, and it just really appealed to me straight away. They've always been so friendly and supportive. It's been really nice. So it was that was my first impression of it. I felt relaxed straight away with them, which is nice. You don't often feel that way in an interview, do you?
No, 100%. Yeah, it's I agree with you. You know, leap at the chance at organisations like that, and it's just a shame that it's you took on the role during COVID, isn't it? Really. So has it just been purely remote so far? Have you actually had a chance to meet any of the guys?
Yeah, I haven't met any of them.
Yeah.
But it's kind of that seems quite normal now because I've been doing this for quite a long time. I kind of forget I've not actually met any of them in person.
Yeah.
I don't know how tall any of them are, stuff like that. It can be weird when I do actually meet them in person. They'll probably feel the same about me. But in a way, it's been quite good because a lot of the sort of big events that go on through the calendar year are all online. So I haven't had to try and combine putting a magazine out and traveling once or twice a month to various shows. I'm glad about that. It's been quite a gentle way in. So yeah, and also it's quite easy to reach people. No one's going anywhere, so I need to ring someone. They always pick up the phone, don't they?
That's true, actually.
So so it all seems very normal. It's amazing how adaptable people can be.
Just moving on a little bit, has there been kind of a key takeaway from your time in the film industry? So everything you did with events, cinema, and through Paramount and Disney. Has there been a key takeaway or something that you've taken from that experience that you find yourself applying to work within the SCTE?
So I keep going back to the technology, but that is a big part of it. I mean, working in media, it's evolved so quickly in the last 20 years, really. It's unrecognisable, really, from what it was in the early 90s. And having had to adapt quite quickly and leaping from one career to another, I've had to be quite agile and think quite hard about what the opportunities are. And I think there's a lot to be said for spotting gaps in the market and being agile and recognise that nothing stays the same for very long. And I think also things are quite cyclical as well. So I've seen companies break away and say we want to be independent, and then a few years of independence and they join together again and merge. And then a few years later they go, no, enough of that, and we'll be independent again. So there's a lot of cyclical kind of activity in business. And I think that with the technology and the sort of response of being agile to respond to that, to stay relevant and afloat is probably what I've learned.
So societies and member organisations like the SCTE, they're quite prevalent in every industry, aren't they? Once you dig in a little bit. From industry to industry, what do you think should be the core benefits available to the members of these organisations?
Well, I mean, every industry is different, has its own pressure points. Like with the SCTE, it's very much about standards and education and training, which I think is fantastic, and it's a brilliant selling point that it offers discounts to that sort of thing and discounts to industry events and so on. But I think crucially the thing any trade association provides most of all is a sense of community. That's what I saw was lacking when I set up the ECA, because trying to find other people in the industry, I would stumble across them online and then you'd be emailing them through the website. Like, it was so frustrating. And I thought if only there was a one central place where I could find out who all the players are in this industry, and then I could meet them in a place and work the room and get to know them and do some business that way. And that's how all businesses function. And so I think a trade association is there, or a learning society, or whatever you want to call it, they all provide that kind of service, and that sense of community is really important. And I think especially now, while everyone's working from home and people are under a lot of pressure, an industry body has a responsibility to its members to make sure they're okay. I do feel there's kind of a new twist on that. I feel quite strongly that there's an outreach element to this now that is important, and whether people take it up or not is it's up to them. But I think it's important that the SCTE or any trade bodies seem to be looking out for the people that they wouldn't be there without those people.
I love that outlook on it as well, that it's not just purely transactional, here's a few brochures and leaflets. You're actually, interacting with members, bit of outreach. And like you said, especially with a time like now, such uncertainty, it really should be about reaching out to the members, seeing if they can be helped in any way.
It's Mental Health Awareness Month, I think, at the moment. And, we're all hearing so much about it. And I think it's really important that we bear that in mind. I think the human race has never been under such pressure, and it's great that we've all got an awareness of mental health. The last couple of years, that's become quite important, and I think the SCTE has a role to play in that, to make sure that we're providing the tools and that are necessary. That there are a lot of engineers out there who are really under pressure. I mean, it must be very, very tough to be doing this in these conditions. So I kind of feel from a human element there's that, but there's also representing the industry, promoting the industry, and talking about accomplishments and achievements and flag waving. I think that's really important. So I'm very happy to put my marketing hat on and represent the industry in that way. That comes very naturally, and I've had years of experience with that. So that's, I think, generally that's what it's there for.
Yeah, and I think ties quite nicely into the next question, and it's what do you have planned for the SCTE going forwards? Where do you envision it being this time next year?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, it's very hard to predict what's going to happen this year, isn't it? Alone, and we have things in the diary planned, and we have webinars, and we have our spring lecture coming up, and the SCTE is 76 years old this year, so there's a 75+1 anniversary dinner planned. But whether that actually goes ahead is still up in the air.
Oh, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, we really hope it does. So it's difficult to plan, but I'm really excited about the whole webinar thing. That's going really well. And personally, I want to sort of get to know the membership better. I'm very excited about what we're doing with the magazine. I've just got my first issue out. That was really exciting.
Yes, congratulations.
I'm proud of that. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's quite a big deal. And now I kind of want to spend the next couple of months getting to know the members really, and really understanding from them what they want from us, rather than just taking a stab in the dark and saying we're going to do this. I want to get to know the industry really, because it's a big jump for me. I mean, there are overlaps between the cinema industry and this one, as you know, but there's a lot I don't know, and technically I'm really not very clued up at all. So I've got a lot of learning to do. I think it's the same with it. If you take any new job, the first
100%.
12 months is a learning curve. So I don't want to go storming in and announcing changes. That's not what I'm doing here. But I do think getting to know the industry and getting to know the members is key. I kind of want to be a little less on the formal side as well. I kind of want to, that's just my nature. I think I want to just be informal and get to know people. So what you said about everything being online, it is good in a way, but I'm dying to get out there and actually meet some people.
Oh, I know. I know. I get the feeling as well. It's, and so without COVID, obviously award ceremony stuff going on, I suppose that would be a prime time to be meeting members and socialising and networking, So it really has put a barrier in that respect.
Yeah, it has. So I appreciate you getting to put this together, because this wouldn't happen. So very nice.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think, it's, and you guys with the webinars as well, it's important to have took stock of resources for, what can we do now to reach out, and not just been stagnant instead, and said, hopefully we'll be at this show this year. Instead it's getting out there and just doing what you can with the resources you've got now.
Yes, exactly.
It's been very interesting. In one word, what do you see as the future of the broadcasting industry and the film industry? Is there an overlap there, or do you think they're going in completely separate directions?
No, I don't. I mean, I put hyperdrive down as one word, but there's loads of words. I mean, I think I say hyperdrive because it is moving really fast, and it's Disney Plus has now got more subscribers than Netflix. It's amazing how this has changed so fast. So it is in hyperdrive, and I think there are some big opportunists out there who have wanted to steer the industry the way they want to for years. And it sounds very cynical, but I think that there's an element of opportunism here, that this COVID's presented a huge crisis, and people are just using it to steer business the way they want to. And I feel deeply sorry for cinema owners and exhibitors at the moment. I just think it's it's tragic that they've been left out in the cold. But I can also see business-wise what's driving distributors to go online. Where that leaves, I think there will be a cinema industry at the end of this because people like to go to the movies. That is a fact. But I think it's going to look drastically different. And I think the ones who are going into hyperdrive are going to do really, really well. And the ones who are wringing their hands and talking about tradition are going to just be left out in the cold. And there's lots of people out there doing that. So
yeah, I hate to say, I almost want reassurance that cinema's not going to be dead at the end of this, because I for one really enjoy going to the cinema. It's always been a kind of major part of my life. And if you were to kind of believe headlines, you'd think it's all going down the pan, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, it's half term this week. What am I supposed to do with my kids in the rain?
That's true.
Cinema is what I always take them to the cinema, and I can't do that at the moment. And if there isn't a cinema at the end of all this, then what? See, I mean, what I imagine might happen is that more blockbusters will end up on being streamed, and you'll see with lower budgets as well, because they can't afford to do those kind of effects, and then only gets $5.99 a month per household. But that doesn't add up. I don't know what they'll do, but you might end up seeing some more creative, more independent movies at the cinema, and cinemas are taking the curation of their own content into their own hands a bit more, because I think they've been spoon-fed by the studios for so long, but that trust is totally destroyed now. So that model may look very different.
So yeah, just to end on, Melissa, are there any exciting projects in the pipeline with you or with SCTE that you can talk to us about?
Well, I mean, there's still lots in the plans at the moment, but I can really talk about it, except we are really excited about the webinars. They're going really well, and I'm delighted with the take-up of these. We've got quite a few to announce, and talking to lots of people. They're all really keen, so it's just great to harness the technology available to us to sort of kind of answer that call. It's part of what I was saying about the mission of sort of engaging the members and giving them a platform to sort of showcase what they're about. And I think that's great. So that's been really good. And you'll see in the new issue as well, I've introduced something called the SCTE long read. So there's a feature that we're writing now, what I'm writing. So I kind of, I would say anyone's got any ideas for something that you think I should get involved in, because I'm new to this industry too. So I'll happily write something if I can get my teeth into it, but I need the ideas. So I would, if anyone's listening, it would be great to have a chat with you, because that's, that long read is something that's going to go on for every issue. And I'm really excited about it. It's an inquiry. It's not just sort of an interview or a Q&A. It's an actual bit of investigative journalism. So that's quite fun to do. So there's two things anyway, and we'll reveal more as time goes on, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's really exciting to see what you guys are doing, and it's great to see it, breathing some life back in.
Thank you. It was great fun. I'm really enjoying it.
So how can people get in touch with you and find out more about anything you're up to?
Well, we're on the website, and my email is melissa@thescte.eu.
Awesome. Sounds really good. So thanks so much, Melissa, for taking the time out to come and speak to us today. It's been really great.
Pleasure. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.